Stand up right now and find the nearest mirror. Go on, I'll wait. Raise your right hand, look at your reflection. It just raised its left hand. Everybody knows this. A mirror swaps left and right. It's the most basic fact in the world. They literally teach it to 5-year-olds. But here's the question that's been quietly haunting physicists for decades. The one your textbook mentions in one line, and then sprints away from as fast as it possibly can. If a mirror flips your left and right, then why doesn't it flip your top and bottom? Why is your head still on top? Why aren't you standing on your own hair? Think about that for a second. The mirror flips one pair of directions and completely ignores the other. How does a flat, dumb piece of glass know the difference between sideways and upside down? And this is exactly where it gets uncomfortable. Because the man who poked at this harder than anyone, Richard Feynman, the guy who could explain almost anything to almost anybody, treated this little mirror riddle like a loose thread hanging off a sweater. Pull it, and the whole thing starts to unravel. Because the truth, the actual answer, is that the mirror isn't flipping left and right at all. It never was. And once you see what it's really doing, you cannot unsee it. Stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to look at your own reflection like it's a total stranger. Let's start with the part everybody agrees on. Write a word on a piece of paper and hold it up to the glass. It comes back scrambled, backwards, reversed. That's why the word ambulance is painted backwards across the front of the actual vehicle. So when it comes screaming up behind you and you glance in your rearview mirror, the letters flip and suddenly read the right way round. So mirrors reverse text. We use this every single day. It feels obvious. Left becomes right. Right becomes left. Case closed, except hold on. Quick pause. If the mirror is so obsessed with flipping left and right, let me ask you something dumb on purpose. How does it know which way is left? Seriously, left and right aren't real things floating out there in space. There's no giant cosmic arrow pointing this way is left. Left is just a story you tell based on which way you happen to be facing right now. Turn around, and your left is suddenly where your right used to be. So how does a sheet of glass, with no brain, no eyes, no sense of direction whatsoever, manage to pick out your left and your right and swap exactly those two, but then show enough restraint to leave your head and your feet exactly where they are? That's not how physics works. Physics doesn't play favorites. It doesn't pick a side. And this is precisely the kind of crack Feynman loved to jam a crowbar into. There's a famous moment where somebody asks him a simple-sounding question, something like, why do two magnets push each other apart when you bring them close? And instead of just answering it, he basically refuses. Not because he doesn't know, but because he wants you to feel how deep the word why actually goes. You ask why the magnets repel, and he turns it around and asks why. Anything does anything, and every answer you reach just unlocks another door. And behind that door another one, and another, until you're standing in a hallway that has no final room at the end of it. That was his entire thing. Most people just want the answer handed to them. Feynman wanted you to notice that the question itself was hiding something, and the mirror is the perfect trap, because the question we're all asking, why does it flip left-right but not up-down, has a lie baked right into it. We're assuming the mirror flips left and right in the first place. It doesn't. Let me prove it to you right now in front of that mirror. Don't raise your hand this time. Instead, point one finger straight at the glass, straight ahead, aimed right at your reflection. Now watch what the reflection's finger does. It points straight back at you. You point away from yourself. It points toward you, that direction, the one running from you into the mirror, and back out again, front to back. That is the one that actually got reversed. Your real nose points at the glass. Your reflection's nose points back at your face. Front and back got swapped. And here's the wild part. That is the only thing that got swapped. Not left, not right, not up, not down. Just front and back. Here's another one to really mess with your head. Hold up your left glove to the mirror. Look closely. The reflection isn't a left glove anymore. It's a right glove. The thumb's on the wrong side. Your reflection is the opposite-handed version of you. And that's not a trick of the eye. That's real. That's the whole reason your reflection can never actually shake your hand properly. Flip the front to back of any object, and its handedness reverses. Left becomes right in the deepest sense. And it happens to your whole body every time you look in the glass. Okay, stop, because this is the twist that reorganizes your entire brain, so let it land properly. A mirror reverses exactly one direction, the one pointing straight into it. Depth, front to back, that is it. That's the whole job. It treats left, right, up and down all completely equally. It doesn't touch a single one of them. So then why on earth would you swear on your life that your reflections left and right are the things that got swapped? Why does the writing look backwards? If the mirror only flipped front to back, where did that left-right swap even come from? And the answer, the real answer, the one that made me sit in total silence for a solid minute the first time it clicked, is this. You did it, not the mirror. You, inside your own head, without ever noticing. Here's what's actually happening. When you look at your reflection, your brain flat out refuses to see it as a weird, flat, front-back flipped copy of you. That's too strange. It doesn't compute. So your brain does something sneaky and completely automatic instead. It imagines your reflection as another person, a real living human being standing over there facing you. And to figure out how that person is oriented compared to you, your brain mentally spins them around to face you, like walking around to the other side of somebody. And when you rotate a person to face the other way, you spin them around a vertical axis like a revolving door. And spinning around a vertical axis is precisely the thing that swaps left and right, while leaving up and down completely untouched. You see it now? The mirror never rotated anybody. Your imagination did. The left-right flip isn't in the glass. It's in the assumption. It's the rotation your brain performed for free in the background, without ever once asking your permission. And if you still don't believe me, here's the test that ends the entire argument for good. Lie down sideways on the floor, in front of a big mirror, head pointing toward one wall, feet toward the other. Now look at yourself. Suddenly your reflection looks like its head and feet are swapped. Top and bottom flip, and now it's the left-right that looks totally fine. Did the mirror suddenly grow a new personality? Did it wake up this morning and decide to start flipping a different pair of directions for fun? No. The glass did the exact same boring thing it always does. Front to back, nothing else. It never changed at all. The only thing that changed is you, and the axis your brain decided to spin around to make sense of your twin. Change your orientation, and the illusion just picks a different pair of directions to swap, because the swap was never actually living in the mirror. It was always living in you. And that right there is the thing. No textbook wants to touch with a 10-foot pole, because it's not really a physics problem, and that terrifies them. The optics is boring. Light bounces off glass at equal angles. A 10-year-old can draw the diagram in 30 seconds. The hard part isn't the light. The hard part is the words. The question, why does a mirror flip left-right, sounds exactly like a physics question, but it's secretly a question about language, about perception, about the silent little assumptions your brain smuggles into a sentence before you've even finished asking it out loud. That's why it's so slippery, why smart people get ambushed by it. You can know every single equation in optics and still faceplant on this one. Because the trap was never in the physics. The trap was in the phrasing. And this is the deeper thing. Feynman kept quietly pointing at his whole life. That sometimes the reason a question feels impossible isn't that the universe is hiding the answer from you. It's that the question itself is quietly broken, built on top of an idea nobody ever stopped to check. The mirror was honest the entire time. It only ever did one clean, simple, boring thing. We're the ones who walked up to it, told ourselves a whole story about a twin standing on the other side of the glass, spun that twin around in our imagination, and then turned around and blamed the mirror for a swap we invented ourselves. The mirror didn't reverse you, your mind did. And the scariest part, the part that really gets me, is that you were doing it every single day of your life, and you never once caught yourself in the act. So the next time somebody tells you a mirror flips left and right, congratulations, you now get to be the most annoying and the most fascinating person in the entire room. Because now you know it doesn't. It flips front and back, and your own brain quietly does the rest. If this rewired something in your head, even a little bit, do me a favor and smash that like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach the other curious weirdos out there who love this stuff as much as you and I do. Hit subscribe if you want more physics questions that sound stupidly simple and then quietly detonate in your brain 3 hours later. And I actually want to hear from you down in the comments. So tell me this. What's something you were taught as a kid that turned out to be secretly completely wrong? Drop it below. I read every single one. And stick around, because next time we are going after another question that looks totally obvious and absolutely 100% is not. See you there.